I drove anybody that was anybody in that town. Remember a boy called James Dean, Indiana farm boy. It was one of the nicest fellas. Sat in the back of the car, smoked cigarettes, hardly ever said anything except yes sir and no sir. It was one of the nicest boys I ever saw in my life. I'm bothered by the fact that I can't remember the name of that boy that was driving that car up in Salinas that took a left in front of him, took his head right off, they tell me. Had a funny name, college boy, driving his parents' car. I'll think about it. I'll remember it. I'll tell you, I remember him. I'll tell you who else I remember. Robert Mitchum. Now, Robert Mitchum was I had such respect. I think he could have been a lawyer. He carried himself with such grace, and he knew so much about the law, he'd just sit back and talk about the law. Mr. Chaplin, for instance, when he came back to America, he asked me to drive him to the Academy Awards. I'll tell you, I liked all of these people except for one bunch, the Barrymores. I never liked any of them. Young ones or the old ones, Eric. I'll tell you right now, there ain't a good one in the bunch. I don't know why I didn't like them, I just didn't. I didn't like him. My favorite was Richard Burton. He was like driving a song, Eric. Richard Burton was like driving a song into town. The sound of his voice was like a song. But that's not why you're here. I want to talk about Joe and Marilyn. If I could meet up with Joe DiMaggio today, I would apologize to him for the words that we had. I know that Joe was an American hero, and I know that he was well respected by almost everyone. But I must tell you, Eric, that he was quick to temper, and he was said sometimes he was unkind. He was quick to temper, and he was a very jealous man, and sometimes he was unkind to her, and she was. My grandmother used to say that she was like a calla lily, Eric. You know what a calla lily is, Eric? You can break them if you pick them up, Eric? I remember that boy's name now. His name was Turnipseed, Donald C. Turnipseed. He was 23 years old. He was a student up at Cal Poly. He was driving his parents' Ford home that afternoon. The sun was in his eyes. Donald C. Turnipseed. Isn't that a funny name, Eric? If you ever heard a funny name in your life, ain't that a funny name that could change the world? Just change the world, eh? wish I had my pocket knife and the hands that could. I'd make myself a different life and carve it out of Hollywood. I'd have a drink down at that Chinese theater. I'd foot race a young James Dean, and I'd cut a new road up to Salinas and take the wheel from Turnipseed. Diamonds on the road out to Coconut Grove. I can hear her laughing. Roses from DiMaggio followed everywhere she goes, but I can hear her laughing. I would take her down to Monterey and I'd beg her not to cry. I'd say don't. Remember Mitchum, the madman preacher? I'll teach him how to play the clarinet. I'll teach him how to love that hat check girl. And then I'll teach myself. I'll learn more about girls from Chaplin. And Barrymore will teach me how to sail. And I'll get my Shakespeare from Richard Burton when he gets back from Wales. Diamonds on the road out to Coconut Grove. I can hear her laughing. Roses from DiMaggio followed everywhere she goes, but I can hear her laughing. I'd take her down to Monterey. I beg her not to cry. My horse will come in out at Hollywood Park and I'll run the back nine up at Woodland Hills. Maybe I'll stop by Marilyn's house and get her off those pills. Well, I'll take her out for dinner and dancing. We'll talk for hours on the telephone. And this trouble that she's having with these Kennedy boys will clear up on its own. Diamonds on the road out to Coconut Grove. I can hear her laughing. Roses from DiMaggio followed everywhere she goes. I can hear her laughing. I'll take her down to Monterey and I'll beg her not to cry. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Martha.